Today I have the honor of interviewing Ruste Juxx, a dope MC from Brooklyn, New York with a massive catalog of music. With over 20 albums out, he tours regularly across the United States, Europe, Japan, and more. He's worked with legends such as Sean Price, R.A. the Rugged Man, Termanology, Tone Spliff, Snow Goons, to name a few. We're going to go ahead and bring him into the interview and ask him about his musical journey, what he's currently working on, and future plans. Hi, there we go. How are you, my bro? What up, my man? Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, of course.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You know, your discography is amazing. You've been in the game literally for decades, grinding it out, creating that boom bap, that real hip hop. You are beloved stateside and abroad, you know, and we're going to get into all of that. You know, we're going to get into albums, we're going to get into your touring. You know, you're a part of a legendary crew, so we're going to talk about all of that. But before we jump into it, you know, if you could tell us in your words about your musical journey, how you got involved in music early on, and, you know, we'll work our way
up. Pardon me, man. I was just smoking the shit on. Yo, you know, I got hip hop early, man. I fell in love with hip hop very young, probably like 4 or 5 years old. You know what I mean? And you know, I just been a crazy journey. At 12 years old, I started rhyming. You know, influenced by my uncle Ray, rest in peace. You know, he was one of the dopest rappers, but he never recorded anything. But he had a bunch of crazy, you know, full songs and shit written in his composition book. You know what I mean? And he was living with us at the time, and you know, I never had you know, my father wasn't around. I didn't have a father figure. I looked up to my uncle. You know what I mean? And so when he was, you know, I still got a lot of his rhymes memorized in my mind right now. You know what I mean? So you know, he was very influential, man. So that, you know, that started my journey. You know what I mean? And it was on from there.
Wow, what an amazing story! And you know, you're holding it down. It's really interesting because in a lot of ways you're doing what he never did,
right?
And that's so incredible. So did he introduce you to like your first like hip hop tapes, your first songs?
Yeah, like when I was very young, this is when he brought over a tape that he had, you know how we used to record off the radio. You know what I mean? Like we listen to DJ Red Alert and record his show or whatever song that, you know, is coming up or whatever. So, you know, he gave me a tape like that, and I fell in love with the shit, man. It was Stetson Sonic, Ghost Hunter, you know, early Grand Poobah when he was with Masters of the Ceremony, like a lot of dope, you know, early 80s songs, man. And that's when I was like, God damn, like, and then when I go outside, hip hop is everywhere. You know what I mean? So, you know, I couldn't help but to fall in love with it.
Yeah. Coming up when you first started rhyming when you were 12 years old, you know, you're in kind of like the mecca of hip hop in Brooklyn. Were there people from around the neighborhood when you were young that started getting signed, started popping off, started being on young TV raps and things like that you're like, I could do that?
Hell yeah, man. It was a group, and it's my brothers to this day. Rest in peace to my man Roger Rabb. It's a group called Brooklyn Zoo. You know what I mean? TF. You know what I mean? For Together Forever. And you know, first, you know, my homeboys, they live right next door to me. My man Elite and his cousin Basha. You know what I mean? They was a group called Double Jeopardy. And you know, they had singles out, tapes, and you know what I mean, everything. So, you know, then they formed the group Brooklyn Zoo with a few other MCs from around the way. My brother Floss from St. Mark's and shit, and my man Bernard from P Street. You know what I mean? They formed a crazy group, and you know, they had a few dope records, man. And I definitely looked up to them. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely, you know, put the battery in my back too.
Yeah, you knew it could be done, right? And I imagine, you know, probably like other cats in high school rhyming with them, early freestyle battles and all that stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the norm. Like, it was a lot of dope MCs around my way. You know what I mean? Half a Mil was, you know, he's older than me. He's like the first to set it off, like, you know, on being signed and, you know what I mean, having a deal and all that. Like, Half a Mil is the one, man. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. So at what point because before your first album, right? Before, you know, Indestructible comes out, you had already been out releasing vinyl. You'd been out grinding, right?
Yeah.
At what point do you start getting in the studio? At what point do you start taking it seriously? Like, okay, I want to make this happen.
Well, shit, I was recording since I was like, I guess 14 or 15. I was recording, and my man Zoe, rest in peace, right next door to me. I lived in 2R, he was in 2L. He was a producer, you know, he's way older than me, but he was dope, man, with the beats, and he had the studio set up, like, you know, in his closet. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that shit worked, man. And we put out, we had a lot of songs, man, like a lot of music, man. And you know, being that he had the studio, he's from Albany Project originally, so he knew a lot of people in the neighborhood. So a lot of dope MCs would come to my building to come record next door with Zoe. And he called the studio Coffee Shop Productions.
That's cool.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how I met a lot of you know, OGs, like my man Shotzi. You know what I'm saying? He's still doing it to this day with Bangkok fam. My man King Sprite. Like a lot of dope MCs came through, and he would always be like, yo, y'all know Rusty, you know, I had a different name at the time, but, you know, like, yo, and so, you know, it was lovely, man.
And that's dope. And then, but see, that explains so much of your grind, right? Because you release an album pretty much every year. You release projects. You're always working with projects. You're always rhyming. Your pen game is wicked. You know, this is on top of performing, but you come from the grind where you would just do hip hop. It was before hip hop. And this is, you know, what's so interesting with the younger generation is the hip hop so big now. It's like pop music, right? It's everywhere. It's in McDonald's commercials. We never knew hip hop would make it this big.
Now, hip hop was really just New York for a long time. It was just New York. And I never, you know, I don't know. I never thought about it. You know, I knew about, I'm like, yeah, they're going to be touring all over the world and shit like that. But I never thought about how, you know, other MCs are going to come out from, you know, say St. Louis and shit. When I never heard, I don't know what's going on in St. Louis till Nelly came. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the streets over there and they slang and the way they dress.
Yeah. Now, hip hop is completely global. And in a lot of ways, they appreciate the hip hop sometimes in overseas markets, you know, that traditional boom bap sound, even more so than they do here sometimes, you know?
Right. A lot of, you know, a lot of shows I have in Europe and Canada, you know, just abroad from America and shit is like they, you know, the fans is, you know, they extra enthusiastic with it, you know what I mean? They coming ready. They banging on the stage and shit, you know what I mean? Wow. Like shit crazy.
Yeah. When you perform, when you tour in Europe, how does that normally happen? Right? So is it normally like, you know, it's just you and you head over there and you have a couple of dates, or do you team up with a few other artists and y'all do a couple of dates? Is it Western Europe? Do you do Western and Eastern Europe? How does that all work out for people stateside who don't know?
Well, right now, the way it works for me, I mean, well, when I started, the first time I got my passport was, you know, going on tour with Sean P. You know, he took me all over, you know, from Italy to Spain to Switzerland, everywhere with him and shit, you know. So, you know, that's how I got my start, you know, rhyming over there. And then, you know, people were seeing me performing with him, and he, you know, I do a set with like 3 joints in between, you know, his show, you know what I'm saying? And plus I'm on a few songs with him. Yeah. So, you know, and I was his hype man at the same time. So, you know, that set me up. So now I just, you know, promoters hit me up from overseas and, you know, ask me whatever. We work it out and, you know, they get me out there. You know what I mean? They just, you pay for the show, the flight, the hotel, and you know what I mean? And then it's on to the next one. Or sometimes I might, you know, a promoter might hit me up that's, you know, he does tours, you know what I mean? Yeah. So he'll be like, get you 15 shows over here, and, you know, it work out like that. Or, you know what I mean? Shit. Or I've done tours with other MCs that have been like, yo, you know, come on this tour with me, and, you know, we did it like that. So, you know, it could be anything.
Yeah. That's dope, man.
Yeah.
You've been to Japan also.
Yeah, dope. It was crazy over there. I had 7 shows, 7 different parts of Japan. Almost every show was sold out. You know what I mean? It was really dope, man.
That's dope.
I did a project with this Japanese rapper and producer, Omen 44. We did an EP, and it was called Black Sunrise. You know what I mean? It's out right now too. So, you know, after we did that, that's what set off the Japanese tour.
That's so, yeah.
Yeah, I was
So, yeah, he
out
did the
there for
project and
18
he was
days.
like, let's do it. Let's perform it.
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah.
That's dope. I know you were
Yep.
trying to get out to Africa to work on a tour there. Is
Yeah.
that happening?
I had, you know, it was about 5 or 6 shows, man. I was going with these promoters, and COVID hit and it messed up everything. You know what I mean? So it was just like, you know, it was like no way this shit was going down at that time. You know what I mean? So then it was like 2 years and passed, but you know, I'm still speaking to different people, so hopefully it's gonna go down. You know what I mean? I know I'm eventually get out there. You know what I mean? So I just want to touch every part, man. East, west, you know, everywhere, man.
Yeah. I'm blown away by Africa. Africa's the future. You know that
Yeah.
Nigeria creates more movies than Hollywood?
Wow. I bet they do. It's a
Yeah.
lot of dope actors from over there, and I watch a lot of movies too.
Yeah, you can start to catch them now on different channels, on different
Yeah,
streaming
yeah.
platforms. They call it Nollywood. It's Nigeria Hollywood, Nollywood.
Right. Yeah. That's dope.
It's big. Ghana, like there's
Really
another
dope.
rapper I was talking to. He was performing out in Ghana, and
Uh-huh.
well, Ram Assassin, you did a joint with Ram
Right.
Assassin.
Right. Yeah, that's my man. We got a joint coming now, video too. But
Yeah, but what's interesting, I talked to him, and he's got that Rhyme Apostles,
yeah,
and
man,
his vision for
that's
that joint.
great.
Yeah, that
It's
joint, and you're on that
so,
joint.
it's so many legendary MCs, man. It's crazy, man. So you know,
Yeah,
it's bound to be dope, man. And so he came through recently, man. Him and his uncle. We came over here. We shot my part for the
yeah,
video.
yeah.
So yeah, and shout out to my brother Rhyme Assassin.
Yeah, shout out Rhyme Assassin. That was such a large scale project that he put together. But when
Yeah,
you look at the track listing of the MCs, it's a who's who of MCs that are at the top of their pen game, and obviously you're on it. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So yeah, so that's dope. When we look back at your discography, you've got over 20 albums, right?
Yeah,
And your first album, Indestructible, classic album,
thank you.
executive produced by Sean Price,
Right.
released through Duck Down Music.
Hmm.
Can you talk to us a little bit about those early projects? Because your new projects are a little bit different because they're independent and you're working with, collaborating with people. But this
Yeah.
was like your first studio album. I think you did a build up where you like also had the prelude like mixtape. Talk to us about that whole thing.
Right. All right. I had I think it was 2000 and right after I was the champ of 106 in Park like 2005, and when the week after, after I lost, I went and did a mixtape, and it was called Reign of Destruction, and I dropped that in 2005, and then I think 2006 or 7 I put out Slick Vic the Ruler, and Duck Down was it was out with Duck Down too. They was selling it on the website and everything, and then then Sean hit me up like, yo. Oh, matter of fact, Buck just came to me and was like, yo, you ready, to work on the album? I'm like, hell yeah. So
Wow.
Sean, and Drew must have been talking, and so I was like, hell yeah. And this was the MySpace days. So
Yeah.
I just got online, and, I had my fan base from doing my thing on my own and also collabing with Duck Down. You know what I'm saying? So I just hit up I was like, yo, producer, send me beats for my album. You know what I mean? And this shit was crazy, man. Everybody was sending me beats, man. And I just put it together, man, like, yo. And, that shit just set it off for real, for real. And they titled it Sean Price Presents Ruste Juxx Indestructible. You know what I mean? So, you put that stamp on it. And that shit
That
went a long way.
cosign.
Yep.
First of all, if you weren't around in the MySpace days, people don't realize how dope MySpace was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think
Yeah.
they've ever actually, like, before it got all, because it got too crazy. But there was a moment where it connected the world and we actually saw what the internet could do. You know what I'm saying?
I
That was,
remember you could put songs on your page and shit and videos. You got videos all the way down on your page. You can put songs on there, and then, like you'll see how much the plays. You know what I
yeah.
mean? You'd be like 5,000 on this song. Like that shit was dope, man.
It was really dope. Yeah, it was really, really dope. How did you get on 106 in Park? Because that kind of like set it off.
That was kind of like another Duck Down thing too, but it wasn't actually Duck Down. It was my man Prince. You know what I mean? He's that's my brother right there, the big bro, man. Him and Buck is, you know, real tight, man, for years. And he was like, yo, came to me and was like, yo, Russ, I know the dude up there at 106. I want to see if I could get you down there, you know, perform. Because I performed up there. He wanted me to battle up there, you know what I mean? Yeah. But when I first went up there the first week, I performed in between the commercial break. You know what I'm saying? Like for the crowd and everything. I think Fabulous was up there that week. So I think, and that week before that, somebody had just won the 7, you know what I mean? Because you go 7 rounds, you know what I mean? 7 different battles. And so they was looking, you know, to start it over again. And he was like, yo, would you want to come back next Friday and battle somebody? And I was like, hell yeah. So that's how that happened. You know what I mean?
That was so you had performed like some songs, but then the actual competition was a freestyle competition.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Off the top, no, like
no,
it wasn't written.
I wrote my rhymes for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the way that it was that you had to win 7 times, and then you kind of retire as a champ.
Right.
God.
Yeah, you retire, or you know, you get a record deal, or you know, somebody sign you or something.
Yeah.
A lot of people get deals. I remember Jermaine, I think No Limit signed somebody, So Def too.
Yeah.
Signed doing it. Yeah. Either way, it was crazy exposure because I was up there for 2-3 weeks, and everybody, you know, people seeing me all over, like, yo. Even when I lost, this dude was screaming from across the street, like, yo, son, they jerked you. You know, like, whatever.
that was going viral back in the day.
Yeah, man. Because you know the Freestyle Friday come on Friday, and then Saturday morning they play it again, and then it might. And I think it was Monday or something like that. I don't know. I think it was Friday or Saturday. So you know, somebody missed it, they get to see it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those early, like I couldn't find those early. Like I found some pictures.
That show was, you know, a big show.
It was massive.
But you get.
I couldn't find some of the like the prelude. I couldn't find the Slick Vic the Ruler. I can't find those online.
Because I know. You know what? I gotta put them out, man. I gotta put them out. Because you know, I was selling them, you know, myself. I was, you know, doing it independently, and then I had it, you know, I was giving Duck Down singles. I mean, cassettes. You know what I mean? Not cassettes, the CDs. You know what I mean? I gave them some, and they were selling them. You know what I mean? And so you know that's how I went. But I didn't put it out online, so I got to do that.
You had to join Vic Flair.
Yeah.
That's before anybody was talking about Ric Flair.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
he blew up later.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was a big wrestling fan when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? So I was into WWF when it was called WWF, not E. It was and WCW, even AWA, you know what I mean? It was different wrestling. So, you know, and, you know, just like, you know how Sean, he'd be putting his name on a lot of shit. Like, he'll be like, damn, well, you know, he used his name with like, this, you know, he just put his name everywhere. Like,
Jesus
like,
Christ Superstar.
He was singing the Wyclef song, and he'll be like, I'll be Sean till November. I'll be Sean till November. Right. You know what I mean? Different shit like that. So I was thinking about, you know, Vic Flair, you know, just like Slick Vic the Ruler, you know what I mean? Going with my name and shit. And, you know what I mean? That shit was dope. At first I said the woo on the song, you know, on the hook. But I thought it would sound better with the original Ric Flair voice, you know what I mean? So we had a VHS tape, you know, put in the studio, and they took the woo, like one of them WW, you know what I mean? And it was sounding crazy.
Yeah. There've been like in the last, I don't know, maybe like 10 years, there've been like a lot of Ric Flair hip hop, you know, things. Mm-hmm. But I think you were the first, man. Oh, for sure.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So after the Indestructible album, right, which is such a classic album, you came out with another banger produced by Marco Polo. How did you connect with him?
Yeah, Marco, you know, I knew Marco just from shit is fucking up. I knew him from being around Duck Down. I met him at a show or something. I forgot, but he hit me up to get a verse on his new. He was working on what's the name of his first joint? Port Authority. He was working on Port Authority Part 2, and so I went through to his studio to record my verse, and he gave me a CD with I think 6-7 joints. You know what I mean? And I took that home and wrote songs to all of them shits and came back, and we was like, yo, we might as well do an album. And that's what we did. And we just kept recording. And to promote the album was the dope shit, because we did it was 13 days leading up to the album. We dropped a video and a single, you know what I mean, to one of his I did freestyles to I wrote verses to his Port Authority Part 1. You know what I mean? The production, all the beats off of that. You know what I'm saying? And then we put them out every day, a new video. You know what I mean? This shit was crazy.
That's dope, man. That's dope. You got so many, when we start getting deep into your discography, I actually have to just pick a few out because you got so many albums, right? You just steadily working. You're steadily working. But one of the real interesting projects that you did was Indestructible Juxx. Can you talk to us about that joint?
Yo, Indestructible Juxx was like, damn, man. I came up with that idea, in a way, because I'm thinking about, I'm a hustler, man. I'm always trying to work, trying to get this money. And so I was like, damn, you know what? I could hit people up, see if they, they pay me to get on the album, and it was like a rapper from Australia, and then a rapper from Italy. You know what I mean? And then they all both on the joint with me. I always set it off, like on almost every song. I set it off and, set the tone and the hook. And then they come up with, you know what I mean? And it's connected. And then I shot the videos. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a win-win. You know what I'm saying? I shot the videos. They shot their part where they was at, sent it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The shit was dope, man. I had one song, it was featuring Cyrus Malachi and damn, I forget the female rapper's name, but she was like, he was from the UK, and she was like, damn, what the hell? She's like Pakistan or something like that. Pakistan, she was, and I let everybody rhyme in their language. You know what I mean? You didn't have to rhyme in English and none of that. So that's what it was Indestructible Juxx for. And she bodied it. Like you don't know what she's doing, but the flow was just like
right.
And it was with the shit was crazy, man. You gotta look that video up, man. It's called I Who Have Nothing. Okay. That video was crazy. Word.
We'll look that joint up. I Who Have Nothing.
All right. But the album, you know what I mean? It was dope working with, artists from, this is my fans. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? So they, when the song come out, they telling their friends to buy the album because they own the album. Like, yo, I'm on Ruste. I did a song with Ruste Juxx. Then we shooting a video. We like, so this shit was just crazy, man. You know what I mean? So that definitely got a lot of push. And I've been working on Part 2.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Okay, so your fans, you call them Juxxaholics.
Yeah.
Is the Part 2 with fans, or is it with like well-established artists?
There's still people that fuck with my music, then that's artists. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
all of them. Like
that's dope. Because you record, you do so many projects. I feel like you've got projects ready to go, like at different. You just haven't released them.
I have about 6-7 albums right now that's already done that, I'm waiting to put out, periodically and shit, man.
Yeah. Time coordinate with whatever producer. Because another thing that I noticed that's really dope actually, it's kind of like an old school thing that the way music used to be, is that you often will work with one producer and he does that album.
Right, that's what I like to do. I like to use, I call that the gangstar formula, man.
Yeah,
that's one of
the gangstar format.
Yeah, yo, man, that's my favorite group right there, man. And it just sounds so perfect. Primo with the beat and the cuts on the hook, or and Guru voice and his flow and his whatever he's talking about. It was just, that shit was just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always do that with every album, man. Like, I've done albums with different producers, like 1 or 2 out of the 20, but I love to keep it like that, man. It's better like that to me.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Since you mentioned Gangstar, and I'm just curious, like as a fan also, what's your favorite Gangstar album?
Shit, full clip, because it got everything on
Because it
it.
got all of them.
Full clip. Like, yo, if I put on work, oh my God. One of my favorite songs is Royalty.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, when I listen to that joint with Jodeci on there,
Yeah.
that song is crazy, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a big Gangstar fan. With the last album, you know, one of the best yet, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But shout out to Primo and everybody that put that shit together, because that last album was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. What a legendary group, man. And it's you know, rest in peace, Guru.
Yup, rest in peace.
I wanted to talk about a few more of your albums. You know, you got so many of them, but just wanted to highlight a couple of them. You've got the joint you did with Tone Spliff, Magma.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yo, Tone he's fucking phenomenal, man. We did I think it was about 7 or 8 joints, you know what I mean? It came out dope, man. Like we worked together before. Like I had a single out with him years ago. And when I went out to Cali, I shot the video too. And I forgot the name of that joint. But you know, then we came into, you know, talking about working on a project, and that shit was, you know, the theme was Magma. So that, you know, that shit was just dope.
Yeah, you explain at the intro of the album, it explains Magma, right?
Yeah.
And then you go into it. And you got one track actually that's where it's you, Tone Spliff, and Ill Conscious, and Team Magnetic. That joint is y'all go off on that.
Yeah. Everybody killed that, man. King Magnetic, Ill Conscious, like that shit was dope joint, man. Like, yo, that shit is just it's mesmerizing, you know what I mean? Hypnotizing, man.
Yeah.
That shit was perfect right there. The cuts on the hook, Tone did his thing.
Yeah. And you've worked with so many dope MCs. I mean, there's Boot Camp Click and obviously Sean Price and Buckshot and you know, that legendary crew. But then there's cats like Termanology, R.A. the Rugged Man, you know, in Europe, Snow Goons. And, you know, when you go through your discography, you see like Mr. Cheeks. And I mean, you've worked with the who's who at this point.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you haven't worked with yet that's an MC that you'd love to jump on a track with them?
I mean, listen, the list goes on, man. It's endless. You know, I mean, a lot of the people that I grew up listening to, shit, man. And I would say, I would definitely say Havoc, you know what I mean? A joint produced by Havoc or joint featuring Havoc. Grand Pooba. Shit, who else, man? It's so many. I mean, I could say all the names like Nas, man, Method Man, like, you know what I mean? Wu, all of them from Wu, you know what I mean? The list just goes on, man. I'm just still a fan of hip hop, you know what I mean? I love this shit. So if I got the opportunity to work with you know what I mean, a legend that's, you know what I mean, I would definitely do that. Yeah. Make a classic.
What's interesting about hip hop right now is that all you know, all of these heroes, a lot of them, they're still working. You know, they're still out there releasing content, releasing music. Hip hop's turning 50. You know, we're like in kind of uncharted waters where you got this whole new generation and new sound, but you still got hip hop going on and people creating great records. You know?
It's rappers from the early 80s that's touring right now. They always tour every year. It's guaranteed. Like, getting money. Yeah. Like, that's a beautiful thing. And people be like talking about they ain't relevant, but they relevant enough to do that shit. You know what I mean? Like, shit. That's a good thing. Even if you have that one song that you could rock with for years. Good.
Yeah. When you go abroad, you know, and you're performing not in the US, not in New York, not on the East Coast, not here, but you're, you know, in Europe or in Japan. What are some of the joints that people love that surprised you? You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, y'all okay, I gotta add that to the playlist when I'm in Germany, for instance. You know what I mean?
Wait, say it again, because somebody was calling in and I didn't even get to hear what you were saying fully. Say it again. So
what I'm curious is, like, are there tracks that surprised you that, like, abroad when you perform in Europe and Japan, that's one of the joints they want to hear that gets like a crazy reaction from your fans abroad, that here, you know, you don't really perform that song. You have different songs you perform in the U.S.
Nah, not really. Not really. I think I get the same reaction with the same, you know, with the songs here and over there.
Yeah.
I don't know. One of the joints that's always a go-to if I do Vic Flair. I don't do it every show, you know what I mean? But if I do Vic Flair, that shit work anywhere. Like I got a lot of joints, you know, once I put it in the set list, I know that it's gonna work. You know what I mean? If I try, I don't really put songs in there that I'll, you know, that's really not gonna work, man. That you know what I mean? I think I've been doing it long enough to know like all of these shit's gonna rock. I ain't gonna have no problems with them.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
When it's
Everywhere.
showtime, you just come up with bangers.
Yeah. Yep.
You recently dropped a project called "I'm Not Like These Other Rappers." Can you talk to us about that joint?
Yo, that was a joint produced by DJ Views. You know what I mean? He's a producer from Australia. The whole album is crazy, man, and that title comes from Sean Price. You know what I mean? I'm not like these other rappers. You know what I mean? And that was from, you know, I hadn't titled the album yet. You know what I mean? We was working on it, and then we got to that joint, and he put Sean saying that on the hook. I was like, that's the album, that's the title right there. You know what I mean? And yeah, the title track, I'm Not Like These Other Rappers, is featuring Bernadette Price, my sister, word. And that's a dope joint, man. We got a joint dedicated to Sean.
Yeah. That's such a beautiful track. It's dope how it opens up, and you're keeping his legacy and his memory alive. The cover, there's a mural of him that you're standing in front of. You know,
and Bernadette did too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. That's amazing. And it's the first track on the album. You know, it opens up the album, setting the tone and paying homage to the legend. You know, that's such a dope thing. What
gotta do it.
Yeah, man. Well, so that producer, that DJ is from Australia. Have you toured Australia?
Nah, but you know what? It's on the table right now. Shout out to my man Gage. Shout out to Randy. We working on that right now.
All right.
It look like it's a go. It ain't cemented in, you know what I mean? But working on it.
All right. Talk to us about what the next project you got coming out, you know, in 2023 is.
Well, right now, me and my man Nine, that's my big bro, man. Nine, the legendary Nine. We got an EP with the Snow Goons and another producer. You know what I mean? Like, and this shit is crazy.
Yeah.
Word.
You just dropped the single for that.
It's called Duos. You know what I mean? So Nine came up with the whole concept of everything, man. I just ran with what he was doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the title is called Duos. So every track is like we got Kid and Play, another song called Meth and Red. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Like, yo, the joints is crazy though, man. And every song is a concept. You know, we just dropped our first single. It's called Double Trouble. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's the first rap group. You know what I mean? Double Trouble. You know what I mean? So we just dropped that on Friday. So y'all could, you know, look for that. Ruste Juxx and 9, Double Trouble.
All right. So that's the joint coming out next.
Yeah, so that EP is dropping first, yo.
All right. All right.
I got then me and Rock's album is on the way. You know, it's almost finished with the mix and master.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That album is called Crownsville. That's serious production, bars all over the place. It's just crazy.
So that's a real interesting album. Yeah. You know, given that you were so tight to Sean Price, and you know what I mean? Like, this is, you know, I'm not sure what you would call it, because it's under Boot Camp Click. Y'all are dropping this album. Yeah. The legacy of Sean Price lives on. You know, what a dope
man. And look, the idea came from me and Sean. I was telling him, you know, we do an album and we came up with Crownsville.
Yeah.
And so I talked to Rock about it, you know, like a few years, like 2-3 years ago. You know, he was like, "Yo, I'm here." And I was like, "Yeah, we could do that, man. You could do that shit." Yo, man, when we put it together, man, it's fucking, yo, the fans don't know that they needed this shit, man. I'm telling you.
So the album's done. It's just being mixed and mastered.
Yeah. Yep.
That's gonna be big, man.
And we dropping it on Duck Down. So, you know, this is all in the family.
Yeah.
Shit gonna be crazy. Look, we got a new boot camp record. Word.
Tell us.
That's it. Yo, I don't want to say
Right.
I mean,
Whatever you can.
we got some shit coming, man, where everybody, word.
Right.
Video, all that. Word.
Does it look like that's dropping in 2023?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Or everything this summer, man. I got another project I'm getting ready to drop with my man Skanks, the rap model. Shout out to my man Skanks, my brother.
Yeah.
And my big bro UG from the Cellar Dwellers. He produced the whole album. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So me and Skanks it's called Spawn and Blade. Word. We got the album cover. So, you know, PF Cutting is mixing mastering that whole project. And you know what I mean? Shout out to my bro PF. And yeah, man, I just got a lot of work coming. A lot of work.
Yeah, that pen
and I done dropped about 10, 20 singles this year. You know what I mean? So I dropped a lot of singles, man. And I got more singles coming.
Man, you're feeding them. You're feeding the fans, and that's why you have such a strong fan base. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's dope. Spring, summer coming. Are you thinking about going on tour? What are your thoughts in regards to like touring and performances?
Yeah. Right now, my next show is I got what is it? June 24th. I'm in San Diego.
Okay.
Word. And I'm we working on something to get. I think I'm gonna get like 3 shows before that. So definitely in June I'm out there in Cali.
Okay.
Then I got a show in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the 29th, June 29th. Then what is it? August 5th, Rock the Bells with Boot Camp. Yo, Boot Camp is a motherfucking building, man. Rock the Bells gonna be crazy. That's out in Queens.
Okay.
At Fort Hill Stadium. So that, you know, that shit gonna be massive. And then August 12th, I'm out in damn, what the fuck am I August 12th, man? Oh shit. I fucking forgot.
Yeah, I've been seeing the flyers. You've been
August 12th. What the fuck is August 12th, man? I'll remember in a minute, man. But yeah, man, I'm doing it. Yeah.
Between all the projects you're dropping, right? The new record with Rock, the other joints you got coming, and all the shows you got coming, you gonna be like killing it this summer.
Yo, man, I'm gonna be all over the place. Like, if you don't hit me, you gonna hit me on this and hit me on that. Like, is some DJ, you know what I mean? It's playing everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For real. A lot of playlists, a lot of that shit gonna be going on this summer.
Yeah, you gonna be killing it. And that's the thing, man. You've carved out a living making real hip hop that's appreciated for a core fan base that loves your music. And you can look at your discography and you can see that steadily you've been building that fan base and touring in Japan and touring in Europe and touring across the United States, from Brooklyn to Cali. I'm in Cali now, so I'm gonna be looking for you. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know, and that grind and that ability to continually just drop dope lyrics. It's special, man. It's a special talent. Truly is.
Appreciate it, man.
If people wanted to work with you, if a producer wanted to send you beats, if an artist wanted to get a featuring, what's the best way for them to do that, to go about?
I always tell them to hit me up at hardbodyhiphop@gmail.com. That's my email. You know what I mean? It's HARDBODIE hiphop@gmail. Yeah. And it's in my bio, you know what I mean? So you either could direct message me or, you know what I mean, whatever, and let's get it rocking. Man.
Yeah, and you work, I mean, as we talked about Indestructible Juxx, you're working on part 2 of that. You work with people all over the world at this point.
All over, like everywhere. Everywhere somebody rap.
Which is everywhere now.
Well,
man. It's all over.
Yep.
So, my brother, thank you so much. Thank you for the time. I'm cheering for you.
No doubt.
You know?
Man, I appreciate it.
Nah, you are a star. You are a legend in this game of hip hop. You know, and,
Thank you.
and I'll tell you, I'm gonna share something with you. When I posted the flyer and people started seeing that you were gonna be on today, it's one of the interviews I've gotten the most reactions from. Where I was getting the little emojis, like what? Exploding head emojis. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, now he's coming through.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you,
that's
man.
dope, man.
I hope the 2023 is the best year yet. You got big records coming, and you know, keep at it, my man.
Respect, man.
Respect.
All right, peace.
Peace.